Wing fullback and centre can really be the make or break of your week, and that was shown very clearly in this game with some really big scores from a few fullbacks and centres, and then a really, really low one from a very popular guy. That one helped me, but didn't help a lot of people, and yeah, it made it very similar to what Warbrick got. So that is that with that one. So 2 games for our beautiful Sunday Easter, and we have 1 to go, which is always a little bit weird when we have the Monday game there. Kind of just free ranges the week, definitely. And what we're going to do in this one, we're going to go through the 2, and then we're going to have a look at a little bit of the rankings and where a few people are at in sort of a couple of my head-to-heads and the top rankings, and see how that compares to you. What it looks like to me at the moment, probably 2 players makes you a couple of ranks. I'd say 3 really drives you up the rankings. You'll probably work it out where you're at right now if you think you're about where you are. Like myself, with 2 players to go, Hopgood and Cartwright, I'm hoping to potentially make a couple. But if I happen to hold ranks, that would mean I'm about a middling week or a slightly improving one, which is pretty good in the end with how the week started. So I'll definitely take that. But Titans v Dragons here. Benny Hunt, another couple of great games in a row. 83 is this one for him, and very, very, very crazy game overall, considering he had only 3 misses, which is so low for what we're used to Benny Hunt having. And he will go back to some of those other games, but him averaging 57, this is how he started the year last year. He was around that 60 mark and then really fell away from there, that's for sure. So Benny Hunt getting involved in everything, even a try saver for Ben in this one. Philip Sami, was that one of the best winger games you've seen in a long time? Because he absolutely dominated this one, and I actually tipped the Dragons, so I was a little bit upset that there was a Titans try right at the end. But I was very, very much hoping that Tanner Boyd kicked it, considering I had no players in this game. I did not want extra time at all, and I'm sure a few people who didn't have Sloan and Bird, and Campbell for feeder, all those guys can relate to that one for sure. But yeah, Philip Sami, for those that had Khan Pereira and didn't have Sami, that's a big swing of points, and he's that type of player that he can just go absolutely nuts. And you see here, he'd already lost 63k. He was priced at 475 to begin the year, and shown that over the years he's been like a mid-30s type of scorer, up and down, and this is one of those ups. It was an incredible effort, especially that first half. I haven't really seen much of a better one, that's for sure. Speaking of amazing games, Toby Sexton with a 72 in this one. Welcome back, and did all of the big kicking. So we'll speak about Tanner Boyd a little bit later, but that is pretty concerning if you're looking at Tanner. He managed to still score a solid one, but yeah, very worrying signs with Sexton being there until Foran comes back. He will be the main play kicker, and unless they're 100% needing Boydie as goals, then as a goal kicker, then Sexton did well in this game and won the game for him. He scored the winning try. He kicked long, he kicked well, he defended well. 25 tackles for 1 miss, so a massive welcome back to Toby, who was a feature in a lot of people's teams last year. A nice 72 there in that one. Jaden Campbell, we spoke about him with Scoop, and Scoop was kind of saying with the higher break even, it was going to be very hard for him to make money that first week, have a bit of a lower break even, probably in the team 2 to 3 weeks there with Brimson out, and then he would make a little bit of cash, but probably not be worth it. A 68 kind of blows that out of the water, doesn't it? And I was definitely looking at him as an option, but I saw that break even and was like, oh, can he get a 50 plus and kind of beat that? Clearly did that, and had a terrific line break through the middle there, scored a try, had another line break with that, and 7 tackle breaks, big run meters, even kicked a few times as well, end up with 3 points in kick meters, which was great. So Campbell, he's heavily on my radar next week. It would only be like a 3-round play or so again with Brimson coming back, but I think to be able to get Hines and stuff like that, then it might be making a little bit of a sacrifice down there at wing fullback, and he could make a really good 3-game run. We'll have a look at their schedule in the next video there. But that final game, guys, as I said, is going to go in with the round results. So I'll go through the final game, our results, where everyone's ranked there to finish out round 6. So that's Campbell. We'll speak about him more later. David Fifita, 64 in this one. He had a try saver as well, which is good, but 8 tackle breaks, 2 offloads, butchered a try. They could have got a lot more. So you'll take your 64 for sure there at a 766 price. That's above that, which is great. And hopefully, if you've held him through that bye, it pays dividends a little bit later. And I think he's a clear hold, at least all the way through to Origin, and then you can make your decision on that one there. Would you buy him? Probably not right now. Like, I'd probably go for like Isaiah Papali'i in round 8 before I'd go for Feeder, just for the consistency and no Origin, but that's that. Jack Bird. Him, Reece Walsh, 2 of the most frustrating guys to not own and watch because of the amount of effort that they go through in a game, the amount of tackle breaks, the amount of try assists they can put on. That try assist to help them get ahead when it was 14-all was spectacular. Duck his head through the line, playing in an edge position, which he has played on and off in his career, but he's switching between two in game, and that was delightful. I believe he got the 9 points from that one where I can't remember who was taking him over the sideline. Might have been Sewer. No, Hunter was, and then Bird just came over right at the end and put his hands on him, and he gets 9 points for that. It's ridiculous. I do find it crazy that in those moments, there's some of those moments where that 9 points is almost better than a try, like a line break try kind of thing, where you get that 9 points when you're one-on-one tackling him out. But that one there, he came over and just laid some hands on him at the end, and he picks up 9 points, more than a try. I'm not sure about that one going forward. I think maybe you can change that a little bit, but again, there's a few things we'd like to change, and the turnover tackle thing has been a great influence in this game. But like the NRL shows with a lot of their rule changes, that you change one rule and it's exploited, or it's not as good in another way. So I think they can definitely make a couple of small changes next year and make that a little bit clearer and not as crazy sometimes, because you get that 9 points, which is more than a try half the time there. How good's Ravalawa been at 61? 475 Ks, mate. He's going to make about 100 after this one. And incredible effort. We didn't expect that this year, that's for sure, with this Dragon side. Sewer with a good one. Tino, so 53 for him. He's priced at just under the 50 mark there at the 49 where he's averaging. And if you own him, he's probably a clear guy that you could upgrade to a Hines or a Cleary or something like that if you haven't got them. So other than that, there's probably not too many you'd move up to. Payne Haas's, these types of guys. But other than that, it's he's a 50-point score. He's priced accordingly. Do you just keep him there? Okay, let's talk about Couchman, because he ended up with 51 minutes here and 48 points, and a really, really good outing for him. And for him to get big minutes when there was no players that really lowered their minutes. They had Blake Laurie, who had 41, but that's nothing crazy. And even if you switch the 10 minutes to Laurie and Couchman 41, he picks you up about a high 30s 40, and priced it at 20 he will be after this week. He's someone that could be on a few people's radar, that dual position guy that we'll probably play a few games over Origin as well. They don't really miss anyone in that pack, but he could be a guy that just sneaks in those decent points there, and you can play him in your edge or mid to cover that 13. So Couchman, have him on your radar for sure. We'll move down to Tanner now, and we spoke about him as not kicking really at all in this game. Just had the one kick for 34 meters, and he had the turnover tackle, which held 4 goals, 22 tackles. So across the board, he got a few bits and pieces. He ran the ball a bit more. Moved over to that left side where Fafita was and wasn't able to get a try assist for him at all. But 35 for him, priced a tad higher than that. It's a little bit frustrating for sure. What do you do with him? Really, it's a hold or sell, and I can understand either. The reason why you wouldn't sell him is because there's too many other flames to put out in your team. Very, very happy we had 3 trades this week, that's for sure, because a lot of guys are either peaking at price and they're potentially going to start going down after the money they've made. Boyd's made 11K, beautiful. But the rest, he will make a little bit on that, which is good, because he had the 52 and the 42 the 2 weeks before. But those type of guys we need to look at is going, are they worth it having in our side if they're potentially going to lose a little bit of cash from here? So Boyd's one of those guys. I can't see him absolutely dominating, especially against a lesser team, just because of the lack of kicking, where he's probably going to get 10 points less per game approximately there. So that's that. Aaron Clark, 33. What a fall from grace again with him. You got DeBell in there, 29. So he's going to keep dropping cash, guys. So he's averaging 30 over the first 2 games that he's played. And this means he should be able to get down to a 500 type of 500K type of number eventually, and could be a solid option for your side. So keep him in the black book for sure. Jacob Little, 26 points, 34 minutes. So PPM's always great, but those minutes, terrible there. MBK1 actually played pretty well and did a good job. Ran well at dummy half, and Little has to go if he's in your side. Blake Laurie, just a bit of a shocker this week. People are asking me if you should put him in your side, and he hasn't done it for long enough to show that he could be that guy that can average 50 plus. He's made plenty of cash. He's averaging 49 for the year, even with this 22, but that's something you need to think about when you're looking at him. Ben Murdoch-Masila, he must have had a bunch of missed tackles from Sami earlier in the game, because I was like, it looks like... so I was watching it a bit late, and a few people were like, he's on 4 at 40 minutes. I was like, I'm watching this game. It's been 15 minutes, and he's on 9 or 10. It was weird. I'm just watching it closely on him just to be like, why is he on 4? Why is he so bad? He obviously had the penalty in there. the 4 missed tackles and end up at 17, so things improved in the second half. But I was like, I feel like he's on about 25 or so just before he went off, and only is 17. So makes a tiny bit of cash on that. Delightful. He's been the best cash cow of the year. Ben Murdoch-Casilla, get him in your sides ASAP. Khan Pereira and Isaac Malawi, 16 for him. We'll start with at 22 minutes, so not great. For those who are looking at him, not a cash cow, unfortunately. Hope you didn't trade him in. There's probably a few that did. 2.8%, yeah, didn't work out. Leeming, who comes in from England, got 14 in his game there. Again, not an option. It comes in at 500k. Ridiculous when he's not even the starting hooker. Anyway, Khan Pereira, 304k, 11. Very sad. Very, very sad there. Ran the ball okay, 91 meters, but 4 missed tackles, 2 errors. Look, we're worried now with Fafita coming back. Jojo, potentially. That would go on his side. There's zero chance that Sami loses his spot after that game. So if anyone was to lose their spot, it's Khan Pereira. Luckily, they did win. That might help him a little bit, but I think you should be worried if you're a Khan Pereira owner, especially after that big score. And if you traded him in this week, it's very upsetting. He had a negative break even, negative 13 or 16, but he makes a tiny bit of cash, and that's probably it for him now with that really low score, unless he comes out and gets a 50 or 60 again. But again, worries about his spot. This is why it's hard to just jump on a cheap winger sometimes. Sloaney, especially when he's got a 0 in his game. Like, he had a 0 round 1, so that's just sitting in the back of your mind the whole time. And then Sloaney with 8. So we were thinking he was going to have a fall from grace game at some point. He does make a tiny bit of money on this one, but I think that does halt his cash gaining potential. This is a game where you wanted him to do really well. Up against the Titans, it was going to be a slightly higher scoring game, or more free-flowing, let's say. And Jaden Campbell was in there doing his thing, and Sloaney wasn't able to at all. 4 errors in this one, 1 missed tackle, 100 meters for 2 tackle breaks, and just wasn't able to get too involved. Guys like Birdie through the middle were doing much more. Sloaney popped up at certain points, but they seemed to tackle him pretty well. If he managed to get away from one, they got him on the second time, just because he's a slightly smaller body. He's thinner frame, taller, but yeah, that's that with Tyrell there, unfortunately, on that one. Let's go to Knights and Warriors, and we'll talk about, that's the second guy. We spoke about Haas last night, about how easy he was to watch. And in this one, what I'm finding this year is it's 3 games in, and I'm finding it so easy to watch Shaun Johnson. And he's just playing incredible, isn't he? Running to the line, passing it off to hard-running edge-back rowers, hard-running centres. Like, the work that Pompey and Va'alea are doing this year has been much better than previous, and Johnson's putting him in better positions. He's getting them around the park. He's directing them into gaps, and he's been able to get try assists from that. His goal kicking has also been spectacular. Tackling, amazing again. 15 tackles, no misses. I was slightly worried early in the game. The only time I was like a bit annoyed watching him was in the first 5-10 minutes. He had a penalty and also an inside 10, which were both on him, and from that point on, he just absolutely dominated this game. And unfortunately, the Knights were just a better team. Johnson did everything he could in this one. Ran the ball a tiny bit, had a turnover tackle there, had 470 kick meters. I think the turnover tackle was right at the end when the Knights just were walking it out. So I was like, Johnson was the one-on-one tackle, and I think Hastings just walked it out, which meant that Johnson got the turnover tackle, and Hastings gets that error. Frustrating, but by letter of the game, that's exactly what it is. Just running out is an error in fantasy, so that's that. But that helped. Anyway, we're hoping for sort of a bit above 50 in this one, and averaging 66 now for the year. He's someone that I think you can just hold for a while, and you can work it out. Really, I just think he's absolute gold through the buy period. So, seen a few people talking about, potentially now that he's made all this cash, you can go him to Hines, and I see the logic in that. But Johnson, I think, is the clear third best halfback asset, and one of the top sort of 5 fantasy assets behind like Harry Grant, who's obviously the clear best in his position, and a few like that. Obviously, a few wing fullbacks and centers who are absolutely outdoing the rest of them. But Johnson, one of those guys that just needs to be in most people's sides, and he is like in the top 5,000. He's owned by most now, which is good. Pompey, amazing game for him, 73. He's had off game, on, and then he's done the same going from there. Frizzell has done it again, guys. So he's someone that you should be looking at for sure as well. Obviously, a weird buy in round 10 and 14 kind of stuffs things around a little bit, but over the last few weeks, he's been averaging really well. He's had 2 injury-affected games, and other than that, he's been a 55-plus guy since then, and getting his work in, 48 in base there, 4 tackle breaks and offload, and a try, which he fell on. So, nothing crazy there, but he's been spectacular. And how good's Frizzell? Is he a buy? Yeah, potentially. But yeah, just got to look at those buys that you have in 10 and 14. Gagai, how good's he been to start the year again? Seems to be him, and the Knights are playing much better. So when they are playing, when they're playing bad, he can still score well. When they're playing great, he's going to be involved in everything. And when he's got guys like Dom Young on his outside, it's going to make life a lot easier. Getting the ball to him early ball, get him over the line, and he can score a try for you. But in this one, again, just a bit of everything: offloading, tackle breaking, and he's involved in the attack as well in the try assist and tries. Just the 1 assist this week, but a 59 average for him. I wouldn't be looking to select him in my side, but yeah, he just continues to do it. And there will be a time where they have a fall from grace, these Knights, when they come up against some tougher teams. But when I say tougher teams, like the top couple there, like Warriors have been that top couple of team, but they're prone to these type of games, especially when they have injuries and stuff like that. You have Tohu out, you have Tamari Martin out just after halftime, so a lot of change in this game. And they got Murata Niokore out, so there's a few injuries and Knights at home, so it was kind of that type of game that was a bit worrying. Warriors coming off a massive victory last week in right on the buzzer, and it took so much effort to then go down early and try to claw their way back. It just did seem a little bit too hard, and they almost did it. Showed plenty of resilience, and they kind of ran out of puff a little bit, I think. But yeah, that's that. Curran, 52. So welcome back for him. He is still going to be cheaper after this next few games. But if there is any injuries to one of those edge guys, it looks like Curran will be that man. Finally, he has improved a lot of his efforts. He made 58 tackles here. Did have 6 missed tackles, an error, and a penalty. So still a few things to work on. But it sounds like he needed to go back to reserve grade and work on a few of his missteps that he's doing. So Webster's sending back and want him to get better, and hopefully he can come back a better footy player, that's for sure. Lockie Miller, 52 in this one. He was solid, guys. He had 5 goals, so he seems to be the sole goal kicker. Big thing in this one was Phoenix Crossland was their main kicker in general play. So both games today was a big change. So Sexton come in and he was their main kicker, and then Crossland comes in and he was their main long kicker, and he actually did a good job. I was impressed with his output there for sure. So that's Miller, 52. Everyone owns him now. Hold him in your team. He's the only safe wing fullback in the moment, that's for sure. Tom Marley had a really big game as well, 46 minutes. He's averaging 21, so not someone I'd be looking at, but a big outing in this one. 40, I was a little more worried about in this game. Again, mostly, I think 96, 97% owned by the top 5K now, which he wasn't before, over 90% anyway. But that late try helped him out. Before that, he had a couple of penalties almost in a row, and 4 missed tackles and the error. So negatives were high in this one, neg 14, and you expect to be better from 40 in this type of game, but to score a try off a nice line gets him to 49, and his price keeps going up, which is great. Greg Marzhew, 48 in this one, so had 2 tries and didn't have to do too much other than that. Didn't even make a tackle the whole game, so no one even ran at him, which is funny, considering that they reckon he has the one of the worst tackles in the game. He did miss 2, obviously. They ran at him twice, and he missed both of them, but that's that. 150 metres, wasn't involved as much, apart from being on the end of a couple of nice right to left movements. So let's go. Chancey Cook start. I'm very impressed with him again. He just runs hard. He's involved in everything. You can understand why he can cop a head knock here and there, but 245 metres, end up with a get out of in goal. It was the 2 points at the end there, and then a nice try assist, 240 in the end, and got over himself, but there was an obstruction. So could have been a bigger score for Chance. Again, looking at their schedule, you might want to have a little bit of interest in Chansey at about that 455, 460 price bracket there. If you can continue in the 40s, you probably make 100k in a tough wing fullback position. So, and you have him over the origin period as well. So if you own him, awesome. Keep holding on to him for sure. Yeah, Crossland and AFB there. Crossland had a nice game with the kicking meters. He got 15 extra kick meters, tackled well, picked up a try in that one as well. But is he an option? He's very awkwardly cheap, to be honest. Is that a good thing? I don't know. Could Hastings just be having a game off kicking? Who knows? There's so many questions there. Tavanga and Leo Thompson both got updated massively. I don't know what happened with Leo, but he was at 34 before updates, and he don't know where, he just picked up a million extra run meters and tackles. I don't know. Or they just had the score wrong. Not sure. But 43 for him. Much better than that 34 he was looking at that point. And that's that. Okay, so injuries in this game wasn't great. And Brayley was one of them. Ended up with 42 in this one. So you take the okay score, and thankfully he played a lot of the game. But he was looking at a 55, 60 tackle type of game here. Yeah, they gave him 3 tackle breaks. I was like, pretty sure he got like 1, which he did, thankfully. But yeah, for those that brought him in, it's very sad, obviously, that it looks like he's got a meniscus injury and you'll have to trade him out now. And your plans of having sort of 2 gun hookers in that round of 13, or him playing in round 13, has just gone out the window, and it's kind of helped me a little bit because I was looking at trading him in, and now that obviously option's off the table, so that's that. But yeah, Brayley, you're going to have to trade him out, unfortunately. Options, it's hard. You probably have to go up top, really. There's not a lot of mid-range type of guys. Unless you're going for a Sonny Luke, you want to downgrade to him and make some decisions around that. But that's Brayley, unfortunately. Let's move on to, Dommy Young's got a try in this one. Hastings, just low kick meters, 144. Still made a few, but wasn't great there. Croker, he's getting close to his peak money-making potential, guys. Still got big minutes, but just didn't have the output there. And I believe, was it him that limped off at some point? I'm not sure if that was right. It was him right then. I remember they said Croker. I'm not sure on that one. Correct me in the comments if you remember that part of the game. Egan, 22 in his 38 minutes. He was looking fine. Had a nice run out of dummy half, and then he got whacked as well. So he's had 2 11-day stand downs in the last 4 weeks, and that could be bad signs for him. And what you're looking at getting out of him longer term. He's one of those guys that is going to be pretty solid through the origin period, but he's just missing too many games. And does that, having 2 in a quick succession, is that more of a chance that he spends more time on the sidelines? I'm not sure, but something we'll have to monitor over the week for sure. Dan Saifidi as well, 26, wasn't great at all. We got a game out of Tane Tuapiki, so that was nice. A 7 there in his 16 minutes. So yeah, look, he had a real negative break even, so he makes a bit of cash on that one if you picked him up. There's not a great deal of ownership, just under 2%, but he was solid in that one at 7 when he came on, got a nice tackle break, and just try to do his thing in that 16 minutes. You had Jack Johns, so people that brought him in, you're pretty upset, to be honest with you, in that effort. He ended up getting a late change to the bench and only played the 22 minutes. So he scored well in that time, a nice PPM, but not good enough, especially when you're looking at sort of 35 to 40, like he did last week. And then to Marty Martin. So this is a very sad one for owners. You held him through his last head knock, and then he comes out with a 6 in 46 minutes, especially if you played him over Warbrick, like our People squad did. We thought we were smart as picking Tamari Martin, and then he gets injured. He was on 6 anyway, so he wasn't doing great, but injured in that run. Looks like a fractured fibula there, so not great. The lower leg. Really. Price drops this week, and then not playing, won't be playing for a while, has to be traded out. It's a very frustrating one, especially in this wing fullback position. As I said, it's so tough, and he's one of those guys you want to have in your side next week, and it's just not going to happen, unfortunately. So that's that one there. Let's look to the my team there, and this will be the People's squad. So we're looking okay coming into the last game here, and we have Hopgood remaining. So we're sitting at 891, so a pretty good score this week. If you're sitting somewhere there with Hopgood left, or if you're about that 850 mark with Cartwright and Hopgood, or however you're playing it there, then you're sitting pretty, I think, in this one. You made a lot of ranks, so we were 7,200 down to 3,084. I'd say we'll end up about the 5,000 mark with just the one player this week, and I love how we accidentally left Hopgood with the vice captain on him. But that's that there. So our team looking solid in that one. So I think, as I said, that's where you're looking at. In this one, if we're looking at the top rankings, guys, we've lost our top spot. I actually can't find him. I don't know how far back he's gone. We had Ryan was up there at the top. I believe he's in our private group there, but we've got... I don't know where he's gone. He might have a lot of plays in this game, that's why. But we've got Dion up there. He's got 965, which is a pretty solid score. And you can see a lot of the top guys have really made some strides over this week. And if you can seek somewhere near that 1,000 mark, you have an absolute cracker. So you see this guy here, he has no players left. So that's why I say that if you have about 2 players remaining, you probably make a couple of ranks. And if you have 3, you're going to absolutely dominate. Our next guy here has 955 and has Cartwright remaining. So a very, very good week for this fella here. And you're seeing most of these top guys, Hammer, Walsh, and even potentially Bird as well, but most of them having 2 of the 3 to do really well in this one, and has a nice 12.2 million team value as well. Grant there in this one, he has 2 players left, so Hopgood and Cartwright. As I said, most of these guys sitting 878, so it's a good score having 2 players left. 891 was our People squad. We had Oho there, Hissing Barda. There we go. We've got Cartwright left in this one, and has looped Bostock, and already has Katoa's score of 29 there. but just the one left in this one for 921. So these are some of the top scores there. And then we could look at some of the guys that have actually gone down. And Ollie has the only one in this top 50 that's gone down so far, and has 969. So 969 with Hopgood remaining there shows that a lot of these guys just ahead have done really well in this week. So let's look at the person just ahead of him, by Lentz there. And then we've got Brenton Vickery. There he's up there. I know who that is. Hoppy left in this one and has already played Leora. So not even playing Cartwright in this one. So one player, 840, has managed to go up. I don't know. Maybe that was just going up last week and number 50 dropped down last week. Yeah. And has gone up. Has got to be going up this week with a great score. So that's where we're at in the top, guys. Obviously, so it looks like probably about that 1,000 mark is going to be the high this week for a lot of the top squads, and that's okay. If you're sitting with, I'm 835 or 840 pending Thursday updates, and also actually Walshy's going to drop down 4, so there'll be a few changes as well with the Broncos game not updated properly compared to NRL.com, and also the Thursday game not updated. So those things will change things a little bit, and I'll be about 845, I'd say, with the 2 players left. So yeah, over 900 you'd imagine, and some of the top scores being 1,000. So you're not going to lose too much. Hopefully we're only about 250, 300 behind that top spot in my team anyway, and we can do a real good catch up. But that's that video, guys. I wish you all the luck in the last game, and I'll see you in the round results video where I'll go through that Eels and Tigers game, as well as all our results from our teams tomorrow. Have fun, guys. See you later.